Okay, everybody, we're going to get started. My name is Jennifer, and I am, like I said, part of the new LiveWELL team. Very happy to be with you today. I appreciate everyone taking some time out to join our webinar on getting the most out of your workout. I am an exercise physiologist and a certified personal trainer, so I'm really excited to bring this education to you. Today, we're going to talk about what is physical activity and exercise. What are the benefits of exercise? We're going to talk about how to put together a program that works best for you using the FIT principle. And then we'll talk about setting a goal for more activity, and make sure you hang out and stay till the end, because I'll give you that code for your incentive if you're going to be putting this in for the part of the incentive. Let's talk about physical activity. When we talk about exercise and physical activity, they both kind of go together, but physical activity is sort of the big words, and then exercise is a subset underneath that. Physical activity is any bodily movement produced by skeletal muscles that requires energy. So pretty much any time that you are moving, if you're walking from floor to floor, if you're going from patient to patient, you're moving your legs in your chair, you're having some kind of physical activity. Regular benefits of activity, if you can, there's lots of good benefits of getting regular physical activity, and those include reducing the risk of high blood pressure, heart disease, stroke, diabetes, breast and colon cancer, depression. It also decreases your risk of falls. So really important to make sure that we keep some physical activity within our day. Physical activity, as I said, includes exercise as well as other activities which involve bodily movement. So this can be playing with your kids, doing chores around the house, playing on sports teams, gardening in some cases can be considered physical activity. So the big key here, the takeaway, is to be moving, always be trying to be getting some activity and moving. Now, exercise, which is a subset of physical activity, is any activity that is planned, structured, and repetitive for the purpose of conditioning any part of the body used to improve health and maintain fitness. So the big difference here is that when you're doing physical activity, you can do that all throughout the day at any time. Like I said, walking to your car, taking the stairs, those type of things. Exercise is something that is planned and structured. So I'm going to walk around the block for 30 minutes at a moderate pace. That would be considered an actual exercise, taking a yoga class, those type of things. So it's important that as we look at our health and our wellness, that we incorporate bouts of exercise as well as bouts of physical activity. The benefits look fairly similar of exercise, as we talked about with physical activity. Decreases your risk of cardiovascular disease, decreases high blood pressure, reduces your risk for type 2 diabetes, heart attack and stroke reduction, reduces the risk of osteoporosis, helps with weight loss and weight management. This is really important. A lot of times we want to work on our weight, or if we don't need to lose weight, we want to maintain our weight. Exercise really plays a key role in helping us to do that. Reduces symptoms of depression and anxiety. There's lots of research that shows when we are physically active and we engage in actual exercise, it increases those endorphins and releases some hormones that helps us to feel good. So we can decrease depression and anxiety. Reduces many cancers, and then also reduces the risk of dementia. Big takeaway, being physically active improves your overall quality of life. So we want to be active in all different ways. Really important to get active with your family for more benefits. Our youth today, we want to make sure that they are also playing and being active. There's a time for sitting, there's a time for watching TV, there's a time for gaming, but we want to make sure it's well balanced with physical activity, getting them up off the couch and outside, or doing some activity even if it's in the house. For our youth, it can improve their cognition, improve their bone health, increase their fitness, and reduce the risk of depression. Pregnant women as well can benefit from being physically active. can decrease the risk of postpartum depression, and then also helps with unhealthy weight gain. Let's talk about the FIT principle. When you've decided to start an exercise program, we want to make sure we put it together in a way that makes sense and is going to be effective for you. So we do the FIT principle, which is frequency, intensity, time, and type. So remember, exercise is something that is planned and structured. So this is where the structured piece comes in. So frequency, what does this mean? It's the number of days a week that you are active or participate in exercise. The recommendations for how much exercise to get is 150 minutes of moderate activity a week or 75 minutes of vigorous activity a week. So you can make this work for you. You can do 30 minutes 5 days a week or 50 minutes 3 days a week, or you can do a combination. Make whatever makes 150 minutes a week or 75 of vigorous, that you do what works best for you. What's great is if you can't get anything done exercise-wise during Monday through Friday, you have Saturday and Sunday that you can make it up. So that makes it really helpful. Next, let's talk about intensity. Intensity is how hard you're working during the workout. And we measure this 2 different ways. There's moderate intensity and vigorous intensity. Moderate would be considered walking very briskly, mowing the lawn, heavy cleaning, bicycling on a light effort. This is the amount that we should do 150 minutes. If you're doing moderate, you want to try to get 150 minutes a week. If you're doing vigorous activity, that would be hiking, jogging, running, soccer, basketball. If you're swimming quickly, that would be vigorous activity. Next, we talk about time. So this is how long you exercise. This is completely up to you. 30 minutes, 45 minutes, you can do 60 minutes. It's completely up to you what works best with your schedule. If it's busy and you can only get 10 minutes in 3 times a day, do that. 10 minutes in the morning, 10 in the afternoon, and 10 in the evening. You've gotten 30 minutes for the day. Absolutely can be beneficial doing it in bouts. The next is the type. And this is the kind of exercise that you enjoy: aerobic, muscle strengthening, and flexibility, which we'll talk more about. But walking, soccer, sports, yoga, weightlifting, whatever works best for you. The key with the type is to choose something that you'll enjoy. If you look here, this chart shows you how to put the FIT principle into action. So you can see the frequency, this person's gonna do 4 days a week. They're gonna do moderate intensity. They're gonna do 25 minutes. They're gonna walk around the block, or they're gonna do 20 reps of wall push-ups. So you just decide what works for you. You can make this chart yourself, or you don't even have to have a chart. You can write it down in a booklet, or put it in your notes in your phone if you'd like. And again, the key here is to choose something that you enjoy to do. If you do not like to play tennis and you're not interested in that at all, don't sign up for a tennis club. You know, if you don't know how to swim, unless you want to take swim lessons, don't go join a pool to get your activity. Do things that you really know you'll enjoy. A lot of times doing the activity with a friend or a family member can also be motivating and help to kind of get you going. Let's talk about aerobic activity while we're talking about swimming and walking. This definition of aerobic activity is activity in which the body's large muscles move in a rhythmic manner for a sustained period of time. Think about what comes to mind with aerobic activity right off the bat, right? Aerobics classes. So moving those large muscle groups in a rhythmic manner. Examples: pretty simple: brisk walking, running, swimming, bicycling, like I said, taking a class. That would all be considered aerobics. Aerobic activity does have 3 components. The intensity can be moderate or vigorous. The frequency would be how often the aerobic activity is performed, and then the duration is how long you choose to do it. No wrong way here, no wrong answer. Just make sure you get out and do it. Next, we have muscle strengthening. So this is your weight training. So this is physical activity, including exercise, that increases skeletal muscle strength, power, endurance, and mass. So most people, first thing that comes to mind is lifting weights, but you don't have to just lift weights. You can use resistance bands, you can do body weight exercises when you're carrying heavy loads. That also helps to increase your muscle strength, or doing heavy gardening. A lot of those gardening tools and soil and all can be quite heavy, so that can be muscle strengthening. This too has three components. It has intensity, which is how much weight or force is used relative to how much the person is able to lift. So are you lifting light? Are you lifting a little bit heavier? The frequency is how often a person is doing the muscle strengthening activity. And then with muscle strengthening, you have sets and repetitions. So this is how many times a person does the muscle strengthening activity, like a weight or a push-up, compared to doing the aerobic activity. So the sets would be, I'm going to do 3 sets of 12 reps. That type of thing. So you choose the activity you want to do. So push-ups, wall push-ups, you're going to do 3 sets of 12. That would be the muscle strengthening. Next, we have bone strengthening. The definition of this is physical activity that produces an impact of tension force on the bones that promotes growth and strength, also called weight-bearing activity. Examples of this would be running, jumping rope, lifting weights. This is great for helping to decrease that risk of osteoporosis. So how do we get started? The first thing you want to do is set a goal. Get motivated and set that goal. Decide that you want to, what is it that you want to achieve with your exercise? Do you want to run longer? Do you want to be able to lift more? Or do you just want to be able to say that I can exercise 3 days a week for 30 minutes for 4 weeks? Make the goal attainable. We like to make SMART goals. So we want to make sure that they're specific, they're measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. I'm sure you've heard that before. So a good example of this would be, I will walk 30 minutes, 4 days a week for the next 3 months. That would be considered a SMART goal. Fitting activity into our busy schedules, it's really can be difficult with work and kids and trying to, get our daily life done. It can be hard and feel kind of daunting to think we have to get in all this extra activity. But the truth of the matter is we just want to move more and sit less. Sedentary behavior has gotten to be a real risk factor for a lot of different diseases. It's a risk factor for all-cause mortality, cardiovascular disease mortality, cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, and then you see the cancers there that are listed. So you can decrease these risk factors just by being active. So try not to sit. The average adult sits 6.5 hours a day during the waking hours, and then 60 to 85% of the population worldwide does not engage in enough physical activity. So we definitely want to get out there and be active. Any activity counts. That's the great thing. There's no lower threshold of benefit for physical activity. So anything goes. Even if you're sitting there listening to this webinar, I would encourage you to get up and march in place while you're listening. And that would count as physical activity. We have about 10-15 minutes left. You could get in 15 minutes of activity just as we finish this webinar here. Most benefits are attained with at least 150 to 300 minutes of moderate activity a week. And then some health benefits you can find that would be immediate, things like feeling better. You can start to notice that you may have less joint pain, you may start sleeping better. So there's a pretty good return on your investment when you start being physically active. Examples, we talked a little bit about this as we've been going through. Some examples of how to be physically fit: take the stairs instead of the elevator, park further away from the door, go for a walk when you get home from work, take your kids, take your dog, take your spouse, go and get active as a family, take a walk during your lunch break. It can be really fun to schedule some time into your calendar, schedule a meeting reminder that says, hey, get up, step, walk around, something like that, because we get so busy and into our jobs that we can forget to stand up. Get an accountability partner like we talked about. Get a friend or coach worker to get active with you. Break it up into 10-minute bouts if you need to. Keep in mind, most people don't need to talk to their doctor if they're fairly healthy, but if you have a chronic condition or if you have never been active before, make sure that you have a conversation with your doctor before you start into any kind of structured activity to make sure that what you're choosing is safe. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about the exercise and some more components of an exercise program. So warming up, this is a really important part of the exercise plan. A good warm-up before workout dilates your blood vessels, ensuring that your muscles are well supplied with oxygen. Also raises your muscle temperature for optimal flexibility and efficiency. You want to use about 5 to 10 minutes prior to your activity to do the warm-up. You can do a lighter version of what you're going to do. So if you're going to go for a run, you can do 5 or 10 minutes of a walk jog. If you're going to do weightlifting, you can do 5 to 10 minutes of body weight type exercises, or you can do some type of walking, that type of thing. But really important to use your entire body prior to doing the activity that you're going to do as your exercise. It keeps you safe, helps to get the body ready to work. On the opposite end of that is the cool down. So real important to do a cool down on the other side. We've increased our heart rate, or we've gotten our muscles nice and tight with the weight training, so we want to stretch them back out. We want to bring the heart rate down. Use about same 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how hard you were working, to bring the heart rate back down and to stretch those muscles out. If you go from an elevated heart rate to stopping, it can cause you to have some lightheadedness. You may get sick to your stomach. You may experience some passing out if your blood pressure drops too quickly. So it's just really great to bring the body back to close to where it was before starting the activity. Stretching, this is another good component we touched on in the cool down. So it's important when you're cooling down because your limbs and muscles and joints are still warm. We don't stretch cold muscles, so keep that in mind. We only want to stretch warm muscles. Hold each of the stretch for 10 to 30 seconds. If you feel you need more, definitely take some time. The key here is to not bounce, and it should be strong but not painful. So we don't want to be putting the body in a position where it's feeling pain, but it should be a nice gentle stretch. You don't want to hold your breath. You want to breathe while you're stretching. That'll help the body to reach its full potential in the stretch. Exhale as you stretch, inhale while you hold. Heart health. We are in February now, which is our heart health month. So it's important for us to talk about heart health with exercise because exercise is a key component of keeping your heart nice and healthy. Heart disease, as we know, is the leading cause of death for both men and women, and 1 in every 4 deaths is attributed to heart disease. Risk factors, we all know these: blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes, overweight, obesity, poor diet, physical activity, and excessive alcohol use. Exercise, it can help to reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease. Our heart is a muscle, so you want to make sure you strengthen it and you use it like you do the other muscles in the body. Bone health, exercise is vital to bone health as well. Weight-bearing and resistant exercises are the best ones to choose. Weight-bearing includes walking, hiking, jogging, climbing stairs, playing tennis, etc. Resistance exercises such as lifting weights or using resistance bands can also help with strengthening your bones. It helps prevent natural aging bone loss. So we will lose bone as we get older. We want to slow that process down as much as possible. By doing that good weight-bearing exercise, we can slow this process down. Also helps to maintain the muscle strength and coordination, which will decrease our falls, which can help us with fractures and as we get older. Brain health. If you hadn't thought about it, exercise is good for the brain as well. So improves your cognition in children and in adults, and it improves the cognition in adults over the age of 50 as well. So really important to be physically active for heart, bone, and brain, and just overall good health altogether. What I like is it reduces the short-term and long-term feelings of anxiety, improves sleep, which all of those are great for helping to have good brain health. As we segue right into sleep, exercise has been associated with reduced Sleep latencies, which is taking less time to fall asleep. Improve your sleeping at night, so the time you're actually in bed. Improve sleep quality. You actually can have a deeper sleep when you are being physically active and exercising, and you'll feel less daytime fatigue. I love the fact that I can tell a difference that when I've exercised, when it hits 2 or 3 o'clock, I don't feel as tired than on the days that the next day that when I haven't exercised. I notice that my body gets tired quicker. So absolutely, exercise can help to even get you, if you're exercising regularly, you may not need to use sleep aid medications. The bottom line, like we said, exercise benefits our health in many ways. There are different forms of exercise that help with different goals. Walking is a great way to start. Walking is the #1 recommended form of exercise. Most people can do it. You can do it anywhere. You can do it inside, outside, and it's very safe, and you can get all people of all age groups involved. Stay motivated by setting a SMART goal. Use the FIT principle to build your program. Remember to warm up and cool down, and don't forget to have fun. Enjoy being active. This is the great time when we're able to do things like this. Let's talk about the incentive for the personal well-being. So since you've completed this webinar with us today, you just go into the portal, you can see there, you can click on the personal well-being and then click on the LiveWELL well-being webinars. To obtain the incentive, then you're going to click on completed a personal well-being webinar. You can see the second version there. You just click on the box there, and then it'll take you to a survey. You'll fill this out. You'll say, you'll just answer the questions. My name is Jennifer. That'll be who presented the webinar today. The webinar is called Getting the Most Out of Your Workout. You'll need a code. The code for that webinar is JC02, like 0203. So I'll repeat that. The code for the webinar is JC0203. If you have questions about the incentive, please feel free to reach out to the Service Center. If you have questions about how to start a physical activity program, or if you're not sure if the exercise program you're doing is working for the goals that you have, if you need help setting goals, please engage with our health coaches. You can schedule an appointment right through the portal, the same place where you're going to put in for the incentive reward for attending today, and you can get on their schedule, and they are more than happy to talk to you about your exercise program, how to set a goal, and making sure that you achieve that goal. You also can receive incentive, you can receive an incentive for participating in health coaching as well. But I would encourage you, if you have any kind of questions, even if you've already completed each of the pieces for the different incentives, go ahead and engage with our health coaches to get them to help you out. I appreciate everybody attending our webinar today. We're going to wrap things up. And I just, like I said, go in and do your incentive, engage with our health coaches. If you have any other questions about kind of getting to the portal, you can reach out to the Service Center. Thank you so much for attending today.